All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Madden 25 Connected Franchise Owner Mode Fantasy Draft of Buffalo Bills, a YouTube series. Today we are coming off our big win in Jacksonville over the Jaguars in episode number 39. Happy Thursday. We're going to start out quickly by checking out the overall standings. We are, of course, leading the way, not only in the AFC, not only in our division, but in the entire NFL, which is something that with this last win, we actually clinched. That's right. There's only one other team in the AFC who, before this game in Jacksonville, was within striking distance of us. That was the Tennessee Titans with an impressive 10-2-1 record. But, of course, us getting our 14th win put us beyond their reach. So even if we lose out the season and the Titans win out, they will finish with a record of 13-2-1. We will finish with a record of 14-2, and that would be that. So we have officially now captured the number one seed. So that means we are going to get a home field advantage throughout the playoffs. All the way to Superbowl if we're lucky enough to get there. We're going to, of course, get a bye, which will be nice. Give us a chance to get some of our players healthy. And a lot of good stuff. Anyways, we're going to go take a look at each of the divisions in the league. Wow, AFC North. Not looking so hot, are we? Browns, Ravens, and Steelers all tied for the division lead with 6-7 records. So maybe we'll see somebody get a home playoff game with a below 500 record, just as we did back in 2000, I believe it was 2011, when the Seattle Seahawks did that. Maybe it was 2010. I could be wrong. 2010. I think 2010 would have been the right year. Again, I could be wrong on that. But it hasn't happened in a long time. The only time it's happened in recent history is when the Seattle Seahawks did it. Who knows? Maybe it'll happen this year in the AFC East or AFC North. Here we go to the AFC South. The Titans seem to have run away with this division. They've clinched a playoff spot, but not the division yet. Texans from Houston are still capable of catching them with an 8-5 record. They look poised to get a wild card spot. Jags at 6-8, all but eliminated. Colts at 5-8, all but eliminated as well. AFC East, obviously, we are leading the way with a 14-0 perfect record so far. Dolphins sitting at 5-8. Jets 5-6-2. 2 ties in 1 year, pretty much unheard of, but it happened. And the Patriots are bringing up the rear at 5-8. AFC West is the remaining division. Chargers and Chiefs, and Raiders are also in on it a little bit. Chargers with a 7-5-1 record. Chiefs 7-6. So those two teams, just a half game separates them from the lead in the division. The Raiders are just sitting 1.5 games back of the Chargers with a record of 6-7. The Broncos are well out of it at 2-11. On to the NFC now. Packers, Bears, and Lions all still sitting poised to potentially take the division. Packers at 9-4, Bears at 8-5, Lions at 7-6. The Vikings are in last, still not a terrible record, 6-7. They could finish with 9 wins. Who knows? They could even still take the division. Any team in this division actually could win it all. Obviously, the Vikings, though, a long road to hoe if that's going to happen. Saints leading the NFC South with a 10-3 record. Bucks sitting behind them at 7-6. Maybe they look poised to get a wild card spot, though. Certainly looks like the NFC North is poised to provide a wild card spot as well. Falcons at 6-6-1, Panthers at 6-7. Both of those teams still within firing distance. NFC East, a little bit more differentiated seasons here. Giants 10-3, Redskins 8-5. Redskins look poised to maybe get a wild card spot as well. Cowboys at 4-9, Eagles at 2-11. Both of those guys appear to be done for the year. And in the NFC West, the 49ers 7-6 record leading the way. Rams and Seahawks are behind them at 5-8, and the Cardinals are 4-9. Interesting that what is probably the NFL's actual strongest division is actually the weakest in this game, would appear, aside from, of course, the NFC North, which in real life is pretty bad, and in this game is also pretty bad. We are going to go ahead today and begin by progressing our players. Now, on Tuesday in episode number 37, we went ahead and developed all of our quarterbacks and running backs, I believe. No, we did not. We finished off the list, and we're starting off with them today. That's right. We finished off with our specialists, and we are going ahead with our quarterbacks. So we'll take a look at Aaron Rodgers first. Aaron Rodgers, it's hard to think of things to upgrade for a guy like Aaron Rodgers. I think maybe the most important thing, which is what we've done in the past, and what has actually cost us some completions, I suppose, is just his throw on the run ability. It was at 90 coming into this, and I think we can get it. Sure enough, we can get it. Oh, no, we can't. We can't get it past 92. So it's still a 2-point upgrade. And then how about this? Purchase this package to become a more consistent player. We can max out Aaron Rodgers' consistency level. Let's go ahead and do that. So he is now the most consistent that he could possibly be. So those couple errant throws, we've had very few this year that haven't been great from Aaron Rodgers, but the couple errant throws that he has had should be lessened by that. Now, going on to his brother, our third stringer, Jordan Rodgers. Jordan Rodgers, his accuracy pretty across the board is weak. We've worked on developing his just general accuracy. We can get it up to about an 85 today. That's good considering where it was at the beginning. His throwing power has always been pretty good. I didn't see it. Maybe we passed it accidentally. Nope. No, it must be good because we have not found it yet. Let's take a look at going deep in here. Throwing power is only 82. And not the greatest, but then again, he's a third stringer. From there, I'd say we go throw on the run. His throwing on the run ability is actually one of the best in the game. There's not a lot of quarterbacks who have an above 80 rating for this. The reason I'm looking at upgrading it so much is because if he does make his way into a game, he's a player who's going to have to rely on his legs more than his arm. He just doesn't have the arm to be a pocket passer and a serious threat in that regard. We'll finish off his points with just some awareness. It's looking more and more like Jordan Rodgers is not going to be a long-term solution at the quarterback spot, but then again, that's not why he was brought in. And in all honesty, I mean, he began the season at 67 overall. He was one of our last picks ever, and he's developed pretty well so far. Jason Campbell, also a mobile quarterback. We're going to move his throw on the run ability up to the 80 mark. Throwing accuracy is the next area where we need to go for him. Get that up to about an 86. His throwing power is very impressive from what I can remember. I suppose I could be wrong on that, and it's 90. So pretty good throwing power from Campbell. And aside from that, I think maybe just short accuracy is where we go. Because if he can just dink and dunk in the short game and keep his legs moving, gaining positive yardage, he's going to be more effective when he eventually steps in. Now we are on to our running backs. Let's start off with our main man, Ronnie Brown. Ronnie Brown, it did say his rushing total for this year just there, which I completely missed. And sure enough, he is over 1,000 yards. So he went over 1,000 yards this past game. He's got 12 touchdowns on the year. It's looking more and more as time goes on like Ronnie Brown might not actually be back next year. Or if he is back, he will be back in a smaller role. Just given his age, he's 31, and 30 normally is already past the point where a running back is truly effective. He has proven that he's been effective after that. His speed is not to the point where it's decreased so much that he's not effective, but certainly he's having trouble getting out and around tackles. Potential tacklers, I should say. He's never been the most mobile person, and it's certainly catching up with him to a degree. So we'll have to. We have looked at a couple of prospects at the running back spot, and personally, as far as I'm concerned, we should continue to do that. I love our three-headed monster of Sproles, Jacobs, and Brown, but we knew going into this year that it could not be a long-term arrangement. These players were available where they were in the draft because of their ages. Of course, Sproles is 30, while Jacobs and Brown are the elder statesmen at 31. Sproles, I think, still has at least 1 year in him to play in his current role. He's been a dominant returner. He's been very elusive, hard to bring down at times. He's just, kick returning is excellent. He's just simply not a spring chicken anymore. So we might have to look at going away from Ronnie Brown, depending on how this offseason goes. for being an every down back. Maybe next year we look at keeping him. If we get rid of Brandon Jacobs, for instance, we could potentially look at keeping Brown as our short yardage back and using him to kind of offset our rookie running back, who might be more of our featured back, and then leaving Darren Sproles in his current role and keeping Ryan Williams just as depth. That might be what we do. So among these four guys, Jacobs would be gone. Brown would fill the role of Jacobs, but then also have that role be expanded a bit. He'd have more of a role with the team than Jacobs does. So Brown would fill that, plus a little bit extra. Williams would stay in his current role of depth. Darren Sproles would stay in his current role, and then Ronnie Brown's role, a current role, would be shrunk down just a little bit and then filled by the rookie, is basically what I'm saying. But again, if there's nobody in the draft who we like, or if there's nobody who comes up in free agency who we like necessarily, who knows? Maybe Ronnie Brown will keep all of his speed and his physical abilities when he turns 32 for next season, and he'll be good to go. Who knows? It all depends on the draft and free agency and development and all kinds of stuff. So we'll worry about that bridge when it comes. For now, we are just concerned with getting to the Super Bowl and taking it home to our fans in Buffalo, who have never to this day experienced a Super Bowl victory. As we often do with Ryan Williams, we're just going to spend these points on his awareness and his carrying ability, making him more consistent for when and if he ever gets into an actual game. He has actually gotten to the game a little bit this year. John Kuhn, meanwhile, we're just going to look at upping his blocking. Impact blocking can be upgraded. He has been phenomenal for us this year. He blew his first block in the red zone this past game on Wednesday in episode number 38. It didn't cost us the game, fortunately, but it did cost us a touchdown. So we're going to hope that never happens again. He's a very consistent player, so hopefully it doesn't. Oh, and that's the other thing we need to do, as discussed in our last upkeep and practice episode. Shamarko Thomas, the rookie, has just built enough points, and rather than wait a couple weeks to when we're upgrading DBs to use his points, we are going to upgrade his development now. His development this year has also already been stellar, but we've saved up points to upgrade his development from normal to quick. So his development, I mean, at this point, let's put it this way, Shamarko Thomas is already at 81 as a 22-year-old safety. He started this year at 75, so he's grown 6 overall points at just normal development rates. So you can imagine what he might be capable of now that his development has been upgraded. Pretty phenomenal stuff. Anyways, we're going on to our scouting now. Scouting is still one of those things. I love scouting. Scouting is one of my favorite things to do. I think it's one of the most fun parts of Madden, to be perfectly honest, is looking at who you can scout for the next year. We've all but decided that Speedy Bales or Eric Baldwin, depending on who's available, will be our first selection. Personally, I'm comfortable with that. Heath Miller has made some nice catches for us recently, and I don't want to get rid of Heath Miller necessarily, depending on money and whatever else. But certainly he's not at the point where he can really be a featured tight end in an offense, which is what we're looking for. Past that, we were hoping to look at the defensive tackle spot because Casey Hampton is certainly aging, and Vince Wilfork still probably has another 3-4 good years in him, but it's definitely a spot where we need some youth. Adantor Odigizua and Stallworth, though, quite honestly, have been underwhelming, let's just say. We may look at going deeper into the draft. We may look at drafting one of these guys anyways. Certainly Stallworth, his overall ranking, his overall grade of a D is worrisome, as is Odigizua's. But they are both young guys, the physical stature that we're looking for, so we may end up picking one of those guys regardless, just because we need a defensive tackle. The other option, of course, is to move up in the draft, pair a couple picks together, and pick somebody who's ranked much higher. I wouldn't be opposed to doing that this offseason. Maybe Jamon Glass is our guy, the 20-year-old who's expected to go 7th overall in the draft. The downside of that would be, though, we would certainly have to get rid of the pick with which we were hoping to select a tight end. and pair it with something really, really nice to move up as many as 25 spots to pick somebody who we're not even guaranteed would still be there. It's a difficult thing to pull off. It is something that we could look at doing, though, potentially. And then the other place that we've looked at going so far is in the third round, going and finding a running back. Basmin Hooker is the guy who we've checked out and so far really, really like, to be honest. We've saved up some points to potentially check out his overall rating. Personally, I think we might be better served checking out Jamon Glass's overall rating, just so we know exactly what we'd be. And oh my goodness. All right, so the top defensive tackle prospect in the draft, who's expected to go 7th overall, receives an F for his overall grade. That is important to know, because if we were once looking at packaging a bunch of picks together potentially to get him, it means that we might not want to do that anymore. Anyways, we're going to advance week here to week number 16. It will be our second last regular season game. I believe that our last 2 regular season games will be played against the 2 division rivals who we haven't played twice yet, one of which would be the Miami Dolphins, the other of which would be the New England Patriots, though I don't trust my memory. So I'm not going to bank on that. I am going to sit tight and wait for exactly what the schedule shows us as soon as it updates. As always, we will begin week number 16 with practice. And there you have it. Our season game is at home against the Miami Dolphins. It will be the final home game in the regular season that is played at Ralph Wilson Stadium. Of course, Ralph Wilson Stadium will be demolished to make way for the new stadium next year. You can take a look at our numbers here. Obviously, staff and stadium hasn't moved all year, which is what has been dragging our overall ranking into the toilet. But team success, popularity have both been in the top 10 for a long time now, something that's I'm really proud of personally. Ticket sales are low right now because we've played a couple games on the road straight, and same thing with merchandise and concessions. So after this game, we'll see that number go up again, hopefully. Anyways, we're on to practice for right now. We're talking about practice. Let's see, what do we want to pick? There's a few different choices here. Goal line comeback. You're down 10 with the ball on the goal line. Punch it in and find a way to win this. I kind of like that. I don't think have we ever done goal line comeback? If we have, then I can't remember. So we're going to go with that first thing today. Also, I feel like there was something I was going to tell you guys. Oh, yes, of course, practice. Well, first of all, here's something I wanted to tell you guys anyways. Then we'll get on to the contest that we announced the winner of last episode, yesterday in episode number 38. First of all, the thing I wanted to tell you guys is that I had some technical issues this week. Serial Monday was not released on Monday. YouTube had trouble converting the file that I tried to upload. People apparently could even see it on my channel that the new video was uploaded. It just wasn't working. I have no idea why. YouTube has been, for me, a very reliable a very reliable tool so far. It's uploaded everything I've ever tried to. It's served me very well, and for whatever reason on Monday it just didn't like the file that I tried to upload. It was not happy with it, and it didn't accept it. I tried re-uploading it the next day and it worked perfectly. So it was up, but it was just late. I apologize for the inconvenience, but if you are one of those people who needs their tuxedo t-shirt Madden fix, first of all, that makes me very happy. There we go, touchdown Heath Miller, because I love it when people love my videos, and it's funny how that works out. But also, I keep in touch with you guys using my Twitter account. My Twitter account can be found in the description of all of my videos. It's just tuxedo t-shirt. On Twitter, just search it. I'll come up. I don't have a Twitter account because I feel like it's super important that I have a bunch of followers. I don't really care how many followers I have. I just use it as a tool to keep in touch with you guys. So again, if something like that happens ever on this channel, where my regular programming is supposed to be up and out there, and it's not, just check Twitter. because even if you don't have a Twitter account, that's fine. Just go onto the web page and check out what's there, because I can almost guarantee you that there will be an update about what is going on with my channel. Anyways, with that said, we have a contest winner to announce. All right. That's my horrible that is my absolutely horrible fake drum roll. The winner of the contest that we held, the first ever contest on the Tuxedo T-shirt channel, was James W. James W is his username. You'll see his comments all over my videos. The video in question that the comment was posted on was episode number 32. James W made the suggestion that we should call, because of course the contest, in case you haven't kept up with this channel, the contest was trying to pick the name that I would use to refer to the practice team, which of course, and by the way, we've lost this practice session. What an awful practice session. They don't give you 3 timeouts to stop the other team. It's garbage. It's heresy, I tell you. It's heresy. But the practice name that he suggested was in reference to what I sometimes say when I am talking about flipping flipping our depth chart around. That, of course, being the flippity flops. I talk about flippity flopping our depth chart, and James W said, hey, why not call the team the flippity flops? So the practice team after this contest, won by James W, a loyal viewer, will be called the flippity flops, which I really like. The flippity flops kicked our asses today. Actually, no, they didn't do anything really. They just showed up and took a couple knees. I think just like up by 3, or is it down by 3? Oh, I can never remember. But just like the previous type of practice session we blacklisted, I think we're gonna have to blacklist this goal line comeback as well. I mean, I guess I should have kicked an onside kick, but man, that's not, it's BS. Anyways, congrats to James W, and I look forward to referring to the practice team as the flippity flops from now on. So when you hear me do that, don't freak out, don't get weirded out. It's what they're called. Just ask James W or myself. So with that said, guys, thank you for joining me. We'll see you on Friday for big old episode number 40, where we are at home against our division rival Miami Dolphins. All right, guys, thanks for joining me on Tuxedo T-shirt, and I'm out.